Hi, my name is Mike Flannery. I am a staff solution architect with Red Hat, and today I'm going to show you how to migrate from OpenShift 3 to 4 using the Red Hat Migration Toolkit. The first thing we want to do is log into our version 4 cluster and verify that the Migration Toolkit operator is installed, as you can see here. The first application we're going to migrate is called File Uploader. You can see the pods for it on the terminal window on the right-hand side. I'm going to get the route so that I can show you the actual application. Highlight the URL, put it into our browser address bar, and there it is. Just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and upload a file to this. We'll click Upload. We'll go back to the home page and then show that the file is indeed there, and there it is. In the terminal window on the right, I'll access my version 4 OpenShift cluster and show that the file uploader application does not exist over there. So we try to get the pods, and there are none. So let's get the URL to the Migration Toolkit application. Get the route, put that into our browser window, and here's our Migration Toolkit application. The first thing we have to do is add our OCP3 cluster to the Migration Toolkit. We click Add Cluster, give it a cluster name, give it the link to the API server, which we can find by doing a OC whoami -- show server on the OCP3 terminal window. We get our URL and put it into the URL field on the form. Next, we need to get our token. We do that with the OCSA get token, as you can see there on the screen. Highlight it, cut and paste right in. And lastly, we need to get the registry for our OCP3 cluster so that we can pull from the same registry. Once we have all the fields filled out, you click Add Cluster, and pretty quickly you'll see a connection successful. Now that we have both of our clusters in our system, we need to add a migration plan. We click Add Migration Plan, and we give it a plan name, File Uploader Migration Plan. We say what the source cluster is, and then what the target cluster is, OCP3 and host. And then we choose our replication repository. Clicking Next, we choose the namespace we want to migrate. Click Next again. We then can choose how we want to move the persistent volumes. In this case, we're going to do a copy. Click Next. We're going to choose to put those into CephFS. Review our migration options, click Next. We have no webhooks, so we're going to go ahead and click Finish. And our validation was successful. So here's our migration plan. To actually do the migration, choose the hamburger, click Migrate, choose to turn off the pods, and then click Migrate. We can see the progress by clicking on that button and watching the dots here progress. Once the migration is complete, we can go over to our terminal window, run our OC get pods again on the OCP4 cluster for file uploader, and see that we have some pods now that are getting created. We can watch that by executing the OCP get pods again. We can also get the route or the URL to the application. Once all the pods are running, we can cut and paste that URL into our browser and show that the application is actually running over on the OCP4 cluster. We even brought over the data that had been uploaded, the file that had been uploaded right before we did the migration. For my next demo, I'm going to migrate a Microsoft SQL Server database. It's running on OCP3. We can see the pods for the application called MS SQL Persistent. We can get the route to the application, copy and paste this into our browser, and show the application. It's a fairly simple table, but let's go ahead and add some data to it. I'm going to add a helmet. Color is black, price $25. made in the United States. We're going to tag it with sales and promotion, and then we're going to go ahead and insert that record into the database. And here you can see that that record was inserted. So let's go ahead and migrate this application as well. Going back into the migration toolkit, we're going to create another migration plan. So we go back to plan, add migration plan. This one's going to be MS SQL migration plan. Once again, we're going to choose OCP3 as our source and host as our target. And we're going to choose our replication repository, go next. We're going to choose the MS SQL persistent application, click next. This time for our persistent volume, and we're going to go ahead and copy it, but instead of copying it into ODF, we're going to copy it into AWS Elastic Block. Review our migration plan. We have no webhooks. Validate the migration plan. Now we got a warning here. This is okay. This is because we have block data and it's telling us that it's going to fill up the block, but that's fine. Click on the hamburger, choose migrate, shut down the pods beforehand, click migrate, click on the status button, and we can watch again the status of the migration by following the dots. In the meantime, let's go over to the OCP4 terminal window and watch it do the migration. So let's look for pods in the MS SQL persistent. We can see we don't have any yet. It's still in the process of doing its migration. Now we have some pods, but they're getting created. So we'll watch those. We still have one getting created. Let's go ahead and get our route so that I can show the application. And there we go. One more check on the pods, still have one creating. Let's get ready for showing it by copying and then pasting into our browser. Look at our pods one more time. And now all the pods are running. And our application is indeed running over here, and the helmet data was brought over. Thank you for watching these short demos of migrating applications from OpenShift version 3 to OpenShift version 4.